Today's reading is Matthew chapter 19, verse 23 to 30. And we remember Clare of Assisi. Clare was the sister of Francis, living in the 13th century and coming from a wealthy family. Their father was a cloth merchant. Francis renounced his life of ease, pleasure and luxury, and as a result of various life experiences, he stole some cloth from his father to sell and used the money to repair churches. He founded an order based on simple living and service of the poor. His younger sister Clare was much influenced by this, and she wanted to follow him in his life of commitment. Who knows what opposition she must have faced, and how difficult it must have been for a woman in those days to strike out and swim against the stream. But she did found her order, and other women were attracted to join her, known as the Poor Clares. They continue today alongside the Franciscan movement. Is this admirable commitment and faith what is demanded of all of us in the gospel? After all, Jesus did say it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. What a challenge. Would it make sense, though, for all Christians to divest themselves of all material possessions and money? Is that God's will for us? It would mean that we were then all dependent on the charity of others, and we wouldn't be able to make any contributions to charitable causes ourselves. Then the camel saying is interesting. It's an example of hyperbole, a manner of speech that Jesus used quite a lot, an exaggeration to make a real impact. Some scholars think that the eye of the needle was a nickname for a small gate in the walls of Jerusalem, a narrow gate, where a trader and his camel would have trouble getting through. So the trader would have to unload the baggage off the camel to make it thin enough to pass through the gate. Afterwards, of course, he'd go back, pick up the bags and sling them back over the camel. If this is the correct interpretation, and if Jesus' contemporaries would have recognised that local allusion, then perhaps the saying is about sitting loose to wealth, as opposed to complete renunciation. Am I able to sit loose to my money, my financial security? Am I able to give sacrificially? I hope the answer to those questions is yes, but I'm conscious myself that it's relatively easy to say, oh yes, I can give generously, I can give sacrificially, I can sit loose to my money, without really doing it, or without recognising quite how attached I am to my level of financial security, whatever it may be. It's easy to kid ourselves. Clare knew this, and she took an uncompromising position. The Pope tried to get her to accept a living allowance to prevent her women living in complete poverty. She refused it. Most of the other Poor Clare houses accepted this income, but Clare and her own community persistently refused to accept any kind of income, choosing instead absolute poverty. So they were living on the charity of those around them. Can you imagine someone today refusing a salary for the job they're doing? Oh no, I insist on doing it voluntarily. Clare's example may not be for us all, but it's a valuable corrective for the usual assumption, the prevailing attitude that more is always better. Where your treasure is, said Jesus on another occasion, there your heart is also. Where is our treasure, and what are we doing with it?